Hello Hecate devotees, witches, and fellow occultists alike out there. Today's video is about witches, magicians, and occultists. What's the difference? All three of these identifications fit under the umbrella of magic, but each has their own specific flavor to which one might identify more than the other. Let's start with witches. Under the dictionary, a witch is a practitioner of magical skills, such as spells, incantations, and rituals, using the supernatural by means to cultivate a result. Under that blanket, divination, meditation, conjuring of the dead, astrology, and demonology are considered part of witchcraft. There are more skills to witchcraft than that, but these are what are defined as specifically witch skills. Witchcraft is also considered to be a religion, and it has the use of nature and elements to conduct change. Witchcraft is the result of putting one's energy out there to manipulate a change or to cultivate a result. Anthropologically, considered and studied under cultural regions, witchcraft has been around the world for centuries and through many different cultures. Each culture has their own version of what they consider a witch. Africa, North and South America, Asia, Europe, Italy, Spain, Russia. They all have their own version of what they considered witch and what they considered under the blanket of evil or skills that might be considered on the dark side or light side for healing or for cursing. A witch also has the skills, as I mentioned, for cursing, for healing, for casting spells, and spirit working. All of this blankets under witchcraft. A magician comes from the root Greek word of mage, which means able to. And under the definition of a mage, or a magician, it is a person with the ability, through rituals and actions, who can subdue and manipulate natural and supernatural beings and forces. A little bit different than a witch, because it involves different skills and subduing or manipulation. Whereas witches work from a primal source, either their own or through nature. Considered to be an influence of religious, medical, and cultural roles, a magician is. Rituals, rites, alchemy, amulets, charms, sigils are some of the many skills a mage can have at their fingertips to manipulate and subdue the forces or spirits. Magicians practice the art of changing consciousness according to their will. So they can manipulate their own body for the sake of their own will to elevate their spiritual advancement. And such changes are considered a transformation of the energy that would normally be unchangeable. So making a result of, let's say, a court date where it would be set in stone if you went to court that this particular event is going to take place, you're going to go to jail. Through magic and being a magician practitioner, you can change the result through the force of your will. Some focus on personal spiritual development, as I stated before, which means changing your spirit or even your physical body for a better outcome. And in some cases, magicians feel like this change of spiritual evolution is becoming closer to being godlike or a god themselves. And changing their own strengths or their own weaknesses into strengths is another part of being a magician. So, a witch and a magician are very similar under the branch of magic, but still there's subtle differences as to how they operate. So then, what is an occultist? An occultist is a person who studies the practices and use of hidden knowledge. And hidden knowledge has many categories, some of which are spiritualism, theosophy, anthroposophy, and parapsychology. Now, magicians and witches do work with spirits and ghosts and specters. And occultists more are along the lines of studying them and the results of the afterlife. Occultists also examine the spiritual aspects that extend beyond pure reason. So, as I stated with parapsychology, they study like a science spiritualism, document it, formulate it. It's under the branch of pseudoscience. So it is technically a science, being an occultist or esoteric. Occult sciences include astrology, alchemy, and natural magic. So again, occultists use magic, but it is in a different degree, more of studying for the sake of science and experimentation versus changing yourself for spiritual evolution or cultivating your magical skills in ritual spells and incantations. All of them work with their own primal power, but all of them vary in different ways. I personally identify as a witch, hence my witch hat today. There are many people that would identify with all three categories. Cultists certainly use magic and are under the umbrella of witchcraft. Magicians also use magic and can consider them witches, or witches can consider themselves magicians, depending upon the variation and degree in which they wish to work or what elements they wish to work with. As I stated, witches use more of nature, the elements, the different spirits on the different planes, not just humans, but elementals like fae beings or fays, fairies, folklore, and which also is under the category of folklore. There are, like I stated, many cultures that consider witches being part of their folklore and cultural experience, whereas a magician or an occultist would not fall into that frame. So all of these are connected, but each one of them has their own different aspects as to what one would consider more than the other. You may fall into all three, you may want to choose individually, and these are just three that I stated because at each beginning of my video I always greet with Hecate followers, witches, and occultists. So I figured I'd do a video discerning the three so that what's the difference. I hope I educated you a little or gave you an idea as to what you might bond with as a title or identification through your magic. I hope this video finds you well. Have a good day.